The Bidding is without a doubt one of Tally Hall's best songs, but the story it tells is actually kind of depressing. But that doesn't mean that it isn't interesting, so I hope you enjoyed an interpretation of The Bidding. The song opens by telling us about our main character, and the image painted of him isn't particularly great. Sleeping in a cardboard box like a homeless person and spending every dollar in the liquor shop like an alcoholic, by all accounts this guy is not a good person. He has just one redeeming quality, and that's that he claims to love you until the day that you drop. But unfortunately that's not enough for most people, considering the, homelessness and whatnot. So our main character is left lonely without a partner and soon becomes scarily desperate. I've been training like a Pavlov dog is in reference to Ivan Pavlov, who was a psychologist that noticed that dogs would drool when they saw the person who usually gave them food, even if they didn't have food at the time. To experiment this, every time he fed the dogs, he would ring a bell, and eventually the dogs became conditioned to associate the bell with food. And since food led to drooling, the bell eventually also led to drooling. Let My Independence Out to Take a Hike is talking about how all control over this response is lost and your independence leaves. And by calling himself a Pavlov dog, our main character is saying that it's very easy to condition into doing whatever you want. Or in other words, do your bidding, because he's just that desperate to be with somebody who cares about him despite his obvious flaws.
15 seconds of Tyler, yeah.
Yeah, my only opinion on your video is that it looks awesome from the thumbnail and title. Oh, Tal kind of fumbled with his look up video, but he's bringing it back now with actually good titles and thumbnails. Let's just hope the rest of the video is as good as my 15 seconds. And cut.
15 seconds of Tyler, yeah.
Then we get to the chorus where a scene of an auction is set with going once, going twice. And the line, every man here has a price, isn't talking about monetary prices, but instead issues, in the form of a price that a potential partner would have to pay. And even though our main character is willing to pledge his life away for love, it's just not worth the price that he carries. The other men are cheaper, and so he's sold to not a single lady. With the word single being used both as an emphasis of how not one lady wants him, and also about how the ladies are here because they are single and looking for a partner. Our main character has been here 1,000 times, and people have bought him before. Apparently he's dated every woman in the atmosphere, but yet he still finds himself back in the auction because nobody wants to keep him. Just remember not to love me when I disappear isn't talking about him abandoning his partner, because he would never do that. It's simply him admitting that he knows eventually his partner is going to want to get rid of him, because the price he carries isn't quite what it seemed on the surface. He's essentially saying that even though you've bought me at this price, there's going to be more prices later that you can't afford. And make sure that you don't love me when it comes to that, because he doesn't want to break any more hearts. But still, all this guy wants is for someone to blow a couple bucks at him. He just wants someone who's willing to put up with his issues in turn for his love. He even offers to make you his queen, but at this point he's just making promises that he can't keep. And he finds himself right back at the auction in the next chorus. But he still doesn't stop with the promises and starts saying whatever the hell he can think of if he thinks it gives him the chance of being picked. He promises to be all that you'll ever need and say that he'll never let you down, but those things just basically aren't true. That's what's meant by the line, the prospects are good, but the date's never great. On the surface, everything that's going on seems pretty fantastic, but once you start to get to know the person, it's not great. Because that's when these women start to realize that he's not what he said he was. But they only realize that after the fact, because in the moment they're too busy winning the bidding to care. Almost as if it's gotten to a point where they don't actually care about who they get. They're just bidding on guys because it's competitive and they can. Which is why the date's never great is such a nonchalant line. These women are only slightly disappointed because they were never really invested in the first place, and that's what this guy's saying. He's basically saying, I wish I could find somebody who was invested as me, because then they would be able to look past my problems. But obviously that's not really working out for him, because at the end of the song our main character is yet again sold, knowing that he's just going to end up right back at the auction house. It definitely sounds like a lonely cycle, but maybe instead of trying to pledge his life to someone, he should deal with that, I don't know, homelessness thing, even if it is metaphorical. He has issues, but instead of resolving them, he's trying to make up for it in different areas. But that's just not how it works. And clearly, he's expecting these women to offer exactly what he offers, without taking into account the fact that it doesn't make up for the serious problems that he has, and they probably don't. And if you are trying to overlook your problems because you think you make up for them in different areas, then you're probably going to end up in the same kind of cycle. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it was more rambly than usual. I tried to stick to a more of a loose script. If you did enjoy, please consider subscribing. It would help me out a bunch. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day. See ya.
Tally ball.